Hi, I'm Aaron Weller, co-founder and president of Sentinel. I've spent most of my career working for global consulting companies, helping assess and enhance information security and privacy programs, as well as sometime running those programs myself. Over the course of my career, it's become clear to me there's no such thing as a magic bullet. While technology solutions have their place, it's that classic combination of people, process, and technology that delivers the best outcomes. For that reason, we've structured Sentinel differently from the majority of technology vendors out there. We have a consulting practice that works on strategic program development and operations with Fortune 500 and other leading programs. That experience allows our consulting practice to drive our product roadmap with their detailed knowledge of how privacy gets done in the real world. Our vision for what we call our privacy confidence platform, Ethos, is to get organizations off of the never-ending hamster wheel of compliance and instead build what we call a culture of privacy that takes into account a range of external and internal drivers to create the most appropriate privacy program for each organization, aligned with overall business objectives. We solve a different problem for many of our competitors, namely how to provide chief privacy officers and privacy leaders with a single pane of privacy glass into both what they need to get done and how far they are along the road to doing it. This is complementary to many existing technology investments in consent management, DSARs, and the like, none of which are intended for an executive audience. And now you have some context around the company and how we enable CPOs and privacy attorneys. Emily Leach, our Director of Content, will demonstrate a new feature in our Ethos Privacy platform. This feature not only allows companies to plan for the future, we believe it will save our clients countless hours and provide a new level of project management and coordination. Emily, take it away.
Thank you, Aaron. As Aaron said, I'm Emily Leach, Sentinel's Content Director, and I'm here to show you some of the features of our privacy program management technology, Ethos. In our description of this session, we talk about getting off the hamster wheel of compliance. What we mean by that is if you continue to chase compliance with every new law that comes at you, you'll end up like that hamster, running and running without ever making any headway. Our Ethos Privacy Confident platform is designed to help you establish and maintain a privacy program that is well suited to your legal, contractual, ethical, and strategic goals and obligations. For the most part, privacy and data protection laws are concerned with three things: what kinds of data you process, where you operate, and how you use data. With your answer to these three questions, Ethos can begin to set up a privacy program that's tailored to your business. You can see here that we have selected a number of data types. We've got authenticating data, communication data, financial, race and ethnicity, a number of data types to choose from. We've also indicated some regions in which this business operates. You can see Canada, the United States, we have Germany, the UK, and we have also identified some ways that this business uses data. So it uses data in business relationships, marketing, operating and maintaining a website, etc. So once we have determined what data types we want to have in here, where we operate, and how we use the data, we can name our business context here, save that, and you can see that we have begun the process of establishing our business structure within Ethos. By setting up a more sophisticated business structure in Ethos, you can begin to segment out responsibilities and obligations to different areas of the business at whatever scale is appropriate to you. But as we know, businesses change and grow and responsibilities shift. And sometimes these are internal changes, like expanding into a new region or initiating a new creative use of personal information. When you do these things, your privacy and data protection obligations change as well. And of course, as the privacy landscape changes, which it does quite often these days, and new laws are passed, your obligations change too. The way you can manage these changes in Ethos is with our Whatif functionality. In Whatif, you select the business context that you'd like to alter, and then select a framework that you would like to apply to that business context. Here we'll choose GDPR. And when you click Submit, it will show you how many changes exist in your business context. So here you can see that by expanding our program to include GDPR, we have 14 new requirements. When you open up each component, it provides visibility into exactly what those changes are. For example, in our privacy governance component, you have a requirement to designate a representative within the European Union. Now from here, you can choose to move forward with the implementation and create a project plan so that by the time you're ready to make that move, you've got your privacy house in order. Another way that this Whatif functionality works is through our quarterly updates. So we understand that the difficulty of staying on top of all the privacy laws in all the jurisdictions where you do business is a real challenge for privacy teams. Sentinel has a team of people tracking and analyzing laws, regulations, and other privacy and data protection frameworks so that we can keep our users aware of their obligations. On a quarterly basis, we push out updates to Ethos environments that will include these newly passed legislations. We'll notify you of any updates that affect your business and provide you the ability to conduct this what-if assessment against those changes to see how they've altered the obligations for your program. And then just like with these internal changes, you can determine whether and how to move forward. If you decide to implement these changes, you click the update button here in the top right, and Ethos will generate a project from the new requirements based on the what-if scenario. And you can see here, this little wrench indicates that we now have a project based on a what-if scenario for this business context. We think this is one of the more important and unique features of Ethos. In our consulting work, we've seen companies struggle to keep up with legislative changes. These days, privacy bills are being considered in almost every US state to some degree. New York saw more than 50 introduced in this legislative session alone. And that doesn't even consider the laws being passed globally, many of which have an extraterritorial scope. On top of that, businesses are looking for new ways to leverage and monetize the data they hold. Understanding the implications and risk a new data processing activity presents to the business is critical information for making these decisions. So now that you've seen the changes inherent in adding GDPR to your business context, and you've decided that you want to implement those, let's take a look at how you go about doing that. This is where we get into the more operational area of Ethos. So one of the things we see in our consulting projects is that privacy teams are often under-resourced, over-scoped, or both, which is why it's important to be able to push work out into other business units. To facilitate this, Ethos has the capacity to integrate with email, Slack, and project management technologies like Jira. Because while privacy needs to be pushed to every corner of your business, Ethos does not. Foisting a new privacy technology on people who will use it only sporadically is not efficient. So many of the people who will be assigned privacy tasks through Ethos never have to interact with it directly. Email will send a notification to the individual via this integration, and they can respond using email, Jira, Slack, etc. And their response will populate in Ethos, including any attachments they include. So let's use our GDPR implementation project to demonstrate how we manage projects in Ethos. We'll open it up so that we can give it some edits, and it populates the name here, and we have a description we can add here. Our creation date, our engagement type. I am the one who opened this project, so I am considered the reporter. And we can also add tags here. Tags are related to our data types and our use cases. So say, we're going to be doing some marketing and we're going to have a website in Europe. We'll add those two tags to this. And then we can add our teams, right? Since we're doing marketing, we want to add marketing, and privacy and technology are always good to add. So we'll add those as well. And up here, you can see that we have the ability to add contributors, our privacy and legal contributors, and also our business stakeholders. So here, let's add, we can add Karen from marketing, and we'll add her as a contributor. So we actually don't have any business stakeholders added in this environment, so we'll skip over that. And we will head to our next screen. This next screen is our project tracking screen. So this is where you would see all those messages that come in through integrations. You can add comments here. You can people within the system, and it will send them messages. We add that, and Karen would be notified of that message. So this is just where you keep notes and generally keep track of the progress. The next screen here is where you can add attachments. If you have guidance documents that might help people with their responsibilities within this engagement, those can be added here, and also any attachments that come in from the individuals tasked with responsibilities related to this engagement. Those will all be able to be found here. And then we come to our requirements. In this project, the requirements have been pre-populated with those from our what-if scenario. But you can also create ad hoc projects from scratch, and then you would populate the requirements in this screen. And once you have all your requirements in place, you'll want to assign them out. So we'll go to assignments here, and you'll see that we have the ability to assign certain projects out to our contributors in this engagement. And when you assign those out to individuals, they will be notified. And our final screen here is the approval method. So anytime a requirement is completed by the contributor, you can come in here and see how it was confirmed, add comments, approve, fail, or defer that. And when you feel as though this engagement is ready, you close it out, and you have completed the engagement for your GDPR implementation. Now, being privacy professionals ourselves, we understand that one of the most important jobs of a privacy team is demonstrating accountability, both to your organization's leadership and to regulators. Ethos reporting dashboard allows you to slice and dice your reporting metrics so that you have visibility into your program by privacy program component, compliance with individual frameworks, and by project owner. On this screen here, you can see the progress for your overall program. So that's all those 3 business contexts that we have within Ethos. However, we can also see this data for a specific business context or location. We can do that up here. And we can also see it for requirements and tasks. If we want to see how a specific business context is doing with their training obligations, say, we would choose the business context here, and we can view reports for any of the components in our business context. So you can see here, we click on training and awareness, and it shows us the requirements completed requirements remaining, and an estimation of the effort that will take to complete all the requirements within our training and awareness component in this business context. And that is done based on prior progress. We can also do the same thing for our compliance with specific frameworks. If we want to see how well we're complying with, say, CPRA, which comes into effect in January 2023, we can look here and see what our progress toward that looks like, even before the law is in effect. Importantly, Ethos doesn't just account for legal compliance. It's capable of ingesting data protection agreements, internal policies and procedures, and strategic and ethical frameworks like GAP or the NIST privacy framework. Ethos can help you keep your commitments to employees, customers, and business partners.
Thanks, Emily, for that informative demo. Great to see some of that functionality and how it can be used to help solve some of these problems that many organizations are struggling with. Some of the things that we're seeing from our clients is that as a lot of the states are starting to look at passing new privacy laws, all of which seem to be based on some variation of CCPA plus GDPR, maybe with a little bit of the Washington Privacy Act sprinkled in, it can be hard to really understand what the nuances and differences are between these different laws without a detailed review. One of our clients had a spreadsheet with 60 different tabs trying to track all of the jurisdictions where that company was operating. And with this kind of technology, we can really cut down that analysis time and really be able to very specifically say, what are the things that are different between a new proposed law and what your program is doing already? This can really help to then drive just what those actions are that may represent incremental new work. Another thing that we've seen and we've been discussing with one of our other clients is being able to use this kind of approach for a merger and acquisition type situation where you may have two organizations with privacy programs that are coming together that may have been started and set up quite differently. So how can you identify fairly easily what are the ways that one program differs from another? Where are there overlaps? And where may you want to run the programs in parallel or bring two pieces together? So again, with this kind of technology, as Emily just showed you, what we can do is really to set up those two different organizations and then compare and contrast between the current state so we can find out what's the best path forwards to integrate those two privacy programs into one. Another thing that I think is really valuable is that giving that single pane of privacy glass across an entire program. No matter what technologies you use today, the chances are that they will be performing against part of your program, but there will be other areas that are either performed manually or they're tracked in different systems. Having a technology solution that will help to put all of those things into one place so that you can see in real time and a point in time what the current status of the program is, can be really valuable when you get that last minute request for an executive briefing and you don't have to go and scramble and look through a bunch of spreadsheets to find the answer. Another thing you could do is to use the automated reporting to keep other stakeholders in the loop as well. One of our clients really wants to make sure that all of the VPs that they work with across the organization are both well informed about what's going on with the privacy program, but also being held accountable for how their teams are actually following the rules and the things that they need to be doing. From privacy impact assessments through to how many of their teams have been trained, we can provide through the technology platform a very sliced view that's directed towards a single part of the business. So you can be having those conversations with different C-levels and VPs across the business and say, you know, these are the things that directly apply to you, rather than providing just that same reporting to everyone, of which only a few % may be applicable. We think that this is just the start of what the future of privacy programs can look like. Deploying a hybrid of expert consulting and cutting-edge technology can really achieve the best outcome. And of course, helping you to get off of that hamster wheel and really accelerate your program as privacy continues to evolve.